So if, like me, you live somewhere where it's cold, damp and a little bit miserable, you might not be using your Hero camper the whole year round. So you need to kind of consider a few little things to kind of winterize it, to make sure it's going to be good and in full working order when you want to use it, maybe in the new year or in spring, or definitely in the summer. Okay, so it's been a while since I've been out in the Hero camper. It's actually a little bit chilly in here, so currently 7.5 degrees centigrade. Now, I hadn't kind of got my camper ready for winter because I was planning to do a kind of final end of year winter trip, but what with the Omicron variant and coronavirus and everything happening, and just generally shocking damp weather here in the UK, we decided we're not going to go anywhere. So we still need to go through that important step of making sure that everything on the camper is how it needs to be, so that when we want to come and use it again, it's all working well. So this isn't kind of an official guide or recommendation as to what to do. This is just the steps that I'm taking based on where I live here in the UK. So even though it does get cold here in the UK, it's not incredibly cold. We obviously do see some negative temperatures, but actually it's been relatively mild so far in December. In November we had a couple of little kind of plungy ones, where it's kind of -2, -3, something like that. But I've noticed that when I have checked in on the camper, the temperature in here doesn't seem to get that low. It gets around 4 degrees centigrade was the coldest I've seen it, when it was kind of minus something outside. So I'm not actually that worried about dampness and things in here. But the main thing that kind of I want to worry about from an electrical perspective, obviously, is the electricals and the battery that's behind the seats. Now, if you live somewhere where the conditions are generally 0 or below, that's not good for your battery. So you probably want to consider moving inside if that's the only option that you have. For me here, like I said, we don't get really much below 0 degrees centigrade, but I am fortunate that on the drive I am keeping the camper connected up to the mains. So I've got a couple of options. Obviously a little bit of current and maintenance is happening on the battery anyway, but my plan to make sure that things kind of stay warm enough, and also make sure that in general there's kind of no mold and mildew and stuff that can kind of happen and kind of get a bit fousty inside the camper, is every now and then I'll check on the temperature and I'll just pop the heat on for an hour, just to kind of up the temperature to make sure everything is kind of maintaining, I guess, some level of freshness. Another thing I have noticed, it kind of happened towards the end of our season of camping, as things get colder, kind of latches on the doors, latches on the drawers in the kitchen area tend to become a little bit more stiff, I guess, as the weather changes. So again, keep an eye on that and just be a little bit more gentle on things in the winter is kind of what I'm doing. I don't think there's really any sense in trying to grease or lubricate anything, because I don't think it's going to be an issue moving in to the later part of the year. One thing I have done actually on the drawers though, is where I had the catches not releasing, just using a screwdriver on the screws that hold the clip in, just loosen it up a little bit, put some tension off of the plastic, and made sure that that continued to work well. I think another reason to be careful with the plastics, even though they seem pretty well built, pretty sturdy plastics, plastics may become a little bit more brittle in the cold as well, so that's why you just want to be a little bit more gentle with the hatches, everything. Other thing I'm going to do is take out all the bedding and everything that we have here, make sure that we can put it inside, keep it all fresh. We again washed it before putting it back in here, hoping we were going to have a winter trip. But again, if we leave it in here, even though it's cold, it's not really that damp. And I'm actually finding, I still think this extra condensation mat that I've put in here has helped with any kind of dampness and condensation. But even if I look around here, the regular condensation points, like up on the mounting brackets for the roof rack, around the window, etc., there's no signs of any kind of water or dampness or condensation, so I'm pretty confident that everything is working pretty well. So yeah, apart from the battery in here, just generally keeping things warm and kind of dry, not too much to worry about. The main thing that we do want to check is the water tank. and the tap and the pipes, make sure that they don't suffer any freezing. So let's get round to the back of the kitchen area and show you that. I'm going to pop the heater on in here for a little bit and get things warmed up whilst we're looking in the kitchen. So as we look at the back of the Hero camper, one of the first things that we can do is make sure that all the water is drained out of the tank. So on my version of Hero, so we have the filler point here, and then underneath we have the tap, the little red tap on there that opens up the water tanks for clearing all the water out. So you just want to make sure that's turned on and fully open. Again, you want your camper to be level so that water can kind of flow out without kind of being tilted. It's going to get caught at the back or anything. So once that's open and flushing all the water out, again, mine's already done, but leave the tap open for a little bit if you haven't done that already. I then also tend to make sure I do the tap up at the end, just to make sure that no bugs or creepy crawlies climb into my water tank over the winter or just any period that I'm not using the camper. Okay, so here inside the kitchen area, a couple of things that I've noticed that I need to clean down myself. This kind of bit of material that's meant to be folded away most of the time, and that may actually help, but I didn't do it since we last made the trip. So you get a bit of water condensation around kind of the rubbers and things, and it has led to a little bit of moulding. So I'm going to wipe those down with antibacterial wipes. So again, that's something definitely to check out. Just going to clean the sink area out, because that's really the next area that we need to make sure the taps have got no water stuck in there, and the pipes, and again the water tank is empty. So let me just clear up things a little bit and then show you what those bits look like. As usual in the UK, it's getting cold and now raining out here. So let's just talk about the sink system. So obviously we just mentioned we drained the water from the water tank. We need to want to turn the tap on. Just to make sure there's obviously no water in the tap unit, and hopefully no water in the pipe for that. And we can just check down here as well. So if you carefully take the top off, these are the sensing nodes to see how much water you have in the tank. If you put your hand in here, you can't get to it very easy, but the water pump is just in here. And again, just make sure that that's raised off the bottom a little bit, and then run the tap again. And you're just trying to make sure that basically there's definitely no water in the pipe of the tap, because again, what we don't want is water in there, water in the pump, and obviously if that does freeze, it's probably going to knacker your pump up, so you don't want that. So that's pretty much all you need to do really. If you live somewhere where it is really cold, like I mentioned, you're probably going to want to bring your battery in, and you may also want to put antifreeze in your water tank and into the pipes of your tap system. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind there. One, you need to use antifreeze that is food safe. Don't just pop antifreeze you get from your local kind of Halfords or car servicing place, because that's not good for humans. So then what you'd want to do is get food safe antifreeze, fill some of the tank up. I wouldn't say you need to fill the whole tank, just enough that obviously the bottom's not going to freeze and crack, and then run the tap a little bit, so again you get antifreeze into the pipe and into the tap itself. Then after the winter, once all the freezing period is gone, you want to flush that out and then do some flushing of the water. I did a video on the channel previously about how I flush the water tanks and everything out on my Hero camper, so you may want to do something similar, but you only really need that if you got plunging temperatures of 0 degrees and more, where you're going to get freezing issues outside in your Hero camper. Obviously it's quite difficult to get all the water out of the tank, so you may have little residue bits, but that shouldn't really cause a massive freezing issue. It's just if you live in a really cold temperature. So that pretty much covers what I've done to winterize my Hero camper. Let me just quickly show you the problem I spoke about with the buttons. So you can see here, once I've pushed that in, this has kind of got stuck. So I can show you again on one of these. So this is what it looks like. You push it in, and now it's kind of stuck in there. And again, when the temperatures are better, this moves a lot easier. You could adjust the screws at the back just here, and you will find that pops up and releases, but not something really to worry about. As the weather warms up, things will kind of pop back out as normal. And we can see here, still it's cold, but 8 degrees in the kitchen area. So I hope this video helped. Please consider liking it if you have done. Ask any questions, and also leave any comments down below if you've got other suggestions on how you winterize your Hero camper that other people can be aware of, and we can all learn from other people's experiences and opinions and how things work. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next video, please consider subscribing and pressing the bell notification icon. More Hero camper adventures to come in the new year. But thank you very much. Take care of yourself, and until the next one, goodbye for now.